So let's chat. I'm so excited about this portion. Last week we had our friends Annette and Joyce and Elizabeth tell us different aspects of their stories. And we did start the conversation about cells and how to keep our cells healthy. And that's basically the conversation about any kind of health. How do we get healthy cells? Many people that say are like make you feel like it's inevitable, and it isn't. There's so many things that we can do to help our bodies. So the causes of disease are toxins, trauma, mental, emotional, physical, and lack of nutrition or malnutrition. And this is a slide from our Annette, who studies cancer cells and diagnoses cancer cells on under a microscope. And she shared with us last week. If you'd like the recording, you can put your email in the chat and I'll make sure to get it to you. But that's on, that was very good information. But March is colon cancer month, awareness month. And so she showed us this picture of metastatic colon cancer. Anyways, and then we heard from Joyce, and she shared her journey and what she chose to do, how she turned her body into an alkaline environment, which is unfriendly to cancer cells. And she talked about the difference of hydrating with salt and eliminating sugar and what that does to your body. And she talks about Dr. Young's way of describing cancer cells, and that's that it's not a noun. We don't need to call it a noun. It can be an adjective where your cells are in a cancerous state. But cells that sugar causes oxidative stress on your body. And then she shared her story about her dog, Lucy, who is now cancer free and arthritis free. And you can see her using the patches on her dog. So let's talk for just a brief second. Causes of health, how to optimize your health. Basically, we're doing the opposites of toxins, trauma, and malnutrition. We're giving our body nutrition. We're reversing the negative effects of toxins. We're eliminating or reducing toxins. And then we're trying to nourish our bodies with mind, body, and spirit. So that's basically how we get rid of any dis-ease is by doing these things. But it's an honor and a joy to introduce you to my mommy. So mom and dad both have had their journeys with cancer, and dad's got his own story too, but I'm going to stop sharing my screen and I want to introduce you to my mommy. All right, mom, we're going to get cozy. Yeah. So, mom, is your chair?
No, I'm short.
Do you need a booster?
Get a pillow.
Well, tell me.
No, I'm short.
Oh dear. Your arms are so long, though.
Yes.
Very cool. Well, mom, tell us about your cancer journey.
Journey
was
doesn't sound quite
Journey
right. I
isn't
didn't
right.
go anywhere. I've just stuck with it. So
You're here.
I'm here. Oh, well, it started with pain. That's how I knew I had cancer. Well, I didn't really know what it was. I let it go for several months. I'd have pain in my abdomen, and I just didn't know what was going on. And it would go away. And then maybe 3 weeks later, it would come back and it would just stay for a few hours and then it would go away. So I could ignore it pretty much because I could put up with a little bit of pain. And then I got to the point about 6 months later where it just didn't go away no matter what I did. I'd stand up and walk, and then it would get better for a few minutes, and then I could sit down. And finally, I decided with the push of my family that I needed to go have it looked at. This is long before Cami got into patching people. So I
It
wasn't
was 2020.
2020, yes.
So this was during the time where they were telling you not to go to the hospital unless it was an emergency. And
Yeah,
when my brother, who was a former RN, came to live with mom and dad, and he saw how little mom was eating and how much pain she was in, he's like, Mom, you got to get to the hospital. So
yeah.
I'm really thankful
Well,
for
I
that.
went to emergency and was checked, and they did some kind of scan. I don't even know what it was. And they decided it was cancerous. And she didn't use that word, but she did let my husband come in so she could talk with him too. At that time, they would only let a patient into their office. They wouldn't even let anybody in the clinic. And so they sent for him. He was able to come in and talk to them. And they said she needs to get up to Virginia Mason in Seattle. So that's where we went. And they took us right in, didn't fiddle around too much.
Well, she was having so much pain that like she wasn't able to eat or drink anything without severe pain because the tumor was like blocking your
Yeah,
intestine like completely.
well, I don't think it was complete because most things, if you ate a little bit, it would go on down. At least at that time. A little bit later, a few days later, it just wasn't working at all. At any rate, um, I wound up within a couple days having surgery. Um, and they did remove the tumor that was in my large colon, and they took out several lymph nodes, and I don't remember how many had cancer, but several of them, it had spread to the lymph nodes. And so they called it stage 3 cancer. And so they talked to me and told me this will require chemo, and that should take care of it. And your chances for a good life would be best with chemo. So that was my thought on the matter. And they were quick to schedule you for it. And um, at that time, they said in a couple of weeks after you're healed up, you'll start the chemo. So it was on my schedule, and I was thinking about that for a good week. And finally, Cami came over. She'd been reading some things, and I'd been seeing podcasts. I saw one on YouTube about Chris beat cancer. And I thought, oh, that sounds interesting. I wonder how he did it. And so Paul sent for his book. Paul's my husband,
My dad.
her daddy. um, and he sent for the book, and I read the book, and then he had a program on every night for 10 days and covered a different subject aspect of healing for those 10 days. And I I decided after I'd heard about that I'm going to try that instead of chemo. And so I called the doctors and told them, and they didn't argue. I was very relieved. I was just scared of telling them that I wasn't going to do it because I had an appointment and I thought I'm gonna have to go. But um, I was healing up nicely and I was feeling really good, could eat anything. But through reading the books, I learned, so much. And I sent for other books on people who and doctors who were using different methods and mostly changing diets and eliminating stress in your life. And there's just so many things you can do on your own mental health just through reading and realizing people live much better without the chemo than they do with it. And chemo tends to kill off cancer and it gets most of it, but there are many times some really strong cells that live through it and they tend to regrow and become strong again many times, not always. Some people um, manage to get through chemo just fine after, it's not pain free or anything, but they do survive. And I think that's wonderful. And that's a choice that people make if they want to go in that direction.
Did you feel pressure from people based on your choices?
Just family. Your friends just kind of look at you and think, oh no, she's going to do that on her own or she's going to go natural. That'll kill her. That's what they would think. But only my cousin would argue with me, and she near cried when she found out that I wasn't going to do chemo and I wasn't going to fight it that way. And oh, it just about broke her heart. And I tried to encourage her, telling her, well, this is, it looks really good. Everything I've read about it, doing it naturally is the best way for me. And I think each person has to make their own choice when it comes to how much faith and trust they want to put in the chemo and in their doctors, because doctors do recommend it and they encourage you to do that. And that's all they know. They don't know about doing it naturally. And of course, they think you're going to kill yourself. But I didn't kill myself. I managed to survive it. Did my exercises, and Cami bought me a rebounder, and that's supposed to be really good for your lymph nodes. And so I did a lot of bouncing. I still do some bouncing. We wore out one rebounder and have new.
It's true. And you also spent time out in the garden. I remember you just being like, I'm going to do what I want to do.
Yeah, I did. I did a whole lot of gardening. This was in 2020. So it wasn't all that long ago. It was about this time of year that I was starting to have some pretty severe pain. And it was beginning of April, I think April 9th is when I had surgery.
Yeah.
And I've been cancer free, haven't had any problems.
Well, in 2022, April 19th, we were in the ER with you having similar symptoms. You remember that? But we knew that it wasn't going to be cancer. It was scar tissue.
Yeah, but that must have gone away. I don't
We
have
started
any.
patching in the
have
summer of 2022.
Okay. We don't have that anymore.
So when my mom also had different skin cancers removed and different things going on.
Here on my nose.
Here's the camera up here.
Oh, it's up there.
Gotta do that.
Now, they about took off my nostril.
Yeah, that's what my friend Roger was concerned about.
But what they did, they took off behind my ear, a sneaky little place. They took that and they stitched it right in and filled in my nose.
That's awesome. So, since my parents are
I can hear better now.
Oh my goodness, you guys. This is part of why I'm so feisty. So, mom comes from a long line of naturals. So, both of my parents are like, what are these going to do for me again? And they wear them, but observing them wearing the patches, I just want to show you a picture of mom and dad. I've got to get all these pictures out of the way. Okay.
Mm.
Can I go back to my slideshow um, because we have pictures to show you of my mom and dad. So you can see mom and dad. This picture on the left is from them from their 60th wedding anniversary,
Yeah.
which we had in 2020, where it was a little restrictive. So we had a little gathering open house thing at mom and dad's house. But you can see mom was on a journey following the crispy cancer stuff. Dad wasn't quite on board yet. But this picture is from them at a wedding in September of 2024. And you guys, my parents are both 83.
I'll be 84 in 2 weeks.
I know, like a week and a half.
Yeah.
Or 2 weeks, yeah. So so they are more healthy, more vibrant, fewer senior moments um, than before. And this didn't come through very well. I don't know if you guys can see that. It worked great in the other.
80 there.
You were 80 there?
Yeah.
Oh, fun. So yeah, mom's a little bit spicy. So what we're talking about is the helping the body do what it is supposed to do, helping the body with the negative impacts of toxins and trauma, and helping to do it. But every body is different. The toxins, the trauma, the setting, how you grew up, what your lifestyle is, it's all different. So we can't tell you a timeline of how it's going to get better. We can just tell you, hey, do more healthy stuff. If you want more health, do more healthy stuff. And so mom and dad have been doing the patches basically at my request, because
mostly vegan.
and mostly vegan. So you follow the crispy cancer stuff. We have our real salt. She's doing the salt. Very, very little to no sugar in your diet.
Not a whole lot.
Very
It's
little.
when you bake things and bring them over.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
I made black bean brownies and brought them over. Yeah. But they're sweetened with stevia and agave.
Yeah.
So anyways, we're making healthier choices, but adding light, adding nutrition to your body, filling your body with nutrition is fantastic. And these help your body with those causes of dis-ease. Look at mom. She's got her patch too.
I can't twist my arm that way.
Good job. That's awesome.
I've got one back here.
Good. So let's run through the patches that help your body with dis-ease. The X39 by far is the one patch to rule them all. But other ones, so that's the X39. And we talked about the fast growing cells. Other ones to highlight would be helping your body with antioxidants. Antioxidants help you get rid, or they attach to free radicals, and free radicals cause your cells distress on your cells. And so they attach and neutralize their negative effects. Carnosine and glutathione are both antioxidants. Glutathione is a major detoxifier, and it's, aside from the X39, it is the first one that I recommend to people who are having trouble with toxins in their body, or issues with their liver, or things that they need help with getting toxins out of their body, or they're ill and they have their immune system is under duress and they need a boost for their immune system. Aeon is anti-inflammatory. It helps your body make an anti-inflammatory, and it helps balance your hormones. So if you think about it, we have the parasympathetic and the sympathetic nervous system. When the parasympathetic is the systems in our body that we don't think about. That's detoxifying, that's digesting our food, that's the different processes that our bodies do when we're sleeping. Do you know that there's 5 90-minute cycles of things that our body goes through when we are sleeping, rejuvenating and repairing our body? That's our parasympathetic nervous system at work. Sympathetic nervous system are things that we're choosing to do, or emotions that we're feeling that are uh, I got to get up and do this. I have to, you're accomplishing goals, or you're running from the saber-toothed tiger. You are feeling all the feels, and you are getting stuff done. It's a stress. Sometimes it's a good stress, but sometimes it's not. So if we don't, and when you're in that mode, your body is not in healing mode. Your body is in accomplishment mode. And Aeon helps your body shift and tell your sympathetic nervous system you're okay, and let your parasympathetic nervous system get to work and dial down the negative effects of C-reactive proteins and cortisol. Carnosine is another antioxidant, very, very important for our brains and nervous systems, our heart, cardiovascular systems, our muscles, and it helps protect the length of our telomeres. And carnosine also helps detoxify our brain from aluminum. So that's good stuff there. So flooding our bodies with antioxidants, not just wearing patches. Patches are amazing, but also in good food as well. But also, mom didn't talk about this a lot, but she chose to, she does read scripture and her Bible every day. She prays. She's outdoors a lot. So she's really being helpful on her spirit and what she thinks about. And that also shifts your brain into that more rest and digest mode. This is my friend Dr. Harmon. Dr. Harmon wrote 2 different books, and he talks about the copper peptides. And this book is just a resource kind of compiling the 50 years of research on copper peptides. And in there, it explains the studies done and how beneficial copper peptides are in people's in the results in how copper peptides are helpful in somebody fighting cancer. And the power, reverse aging power of epitalin is a book on, again, almost 50 years of research on epitalin. In epitalin is the man-made chemical, identical chemistry wise to what our brains make, called epithalamine. And that's important. That's what I'm going to talk about next. Alavida, the patch, tells our body to make, it tells in our brain, it tells us to make epithalamine. And epithalamine stimulates the pineal gland to make melatonin. And that's helpful because remember, we talked about that parasympathetic and sympathetic nervous system that puts us down into those 5 90-minute cycles where we can detox, and it helps our bodies immune system. It helps our brains. So we detox and heal when we sleep. Also, epithalamine tells our body to make telomerase. And again, we're talking about telomeres. Telomeres are those protective ends on our DNA, telling our cells it's a sign of aging or health on our cells. So epithalamic or telomerase tells our cells not only to make lengthen them if they're too short, but sometimes cancer cells are actually the telomeres are too long and they need to be there, either shape up or ship out. And so telomerase actually tells the telomeres to be the correct length for a healthy cell. So that's a beautiful thing. And then, of course, it helps us rebuild collagen and cartilage, really great for our skin. But those two things, your sleep, healthy sleep to help our own bodies rebuild and regenerate, and telomerase. Alavida is one of those patches that I recommend for people. And it is one of the ones that Roger was using. He used X39, glutathione, Alavida, and Aeon. And it also reduces oxidative stress. So if you think about the banana, and the brown spots are oxidative stress on the cells, then the epitalin or epithalamine reduces oxidative stress. So where do we go from here? You would go, if you're interested in learning more, I'm happy to answer some questions. But if you're interested in trying this technology, we recommend that you get back to the person who referred you, and they will go through and help you build your wholesale pack that helps you achieve the goals that you have. So we have the ghk phototherapy. We have within a few, we recommend that you use the X39 for a month for every decade you've been alive. Don't expect this as a quick fix. In the first few days, it does start to work right away, resetting your genes to a younger state. But it really is something that we want you to be committed to at least for 60 or 90 days. Obviously, a better recommendation is a month for every decade you've been alive. And just so you know, the X39 retails for $149 for a 30-day supply. That's retail, and we love to help people get wholesale pricing. And then these are the support patches. There's more than what I talked about already. But again, we get to the person who invited you to this call and learn more, and you can order patches that suit your needs. And these patches retail for $79 a pack, but they wholesale for as low as $49. We also have a beautiful day cream, night cream, and eye cream as well in the Alavida system. And then these are the wholesale packs. These are not monthly costs, but these are wholesale packs. And again, the person who invited you will help you. So if you are ready to get started, we are celebrate with you and thank you for coming. I'm so glad you're here. Yeah, thanks for telling your story, Mom. Appreciate it.
such as it is.
Yeah. Well, we're really here to help people, empower them with information so that they know that they can take their health on. Um, I come from a long line of feisty, in case you haven't recognized. Mom has been researching healthful things for years, and it's super, it is part of our passion and our joy to help people realize that they have choices, they have options, and how to help their body become healthy. So thanks you guys for joining us, and I'll go ahead and stop recording and answer some questions.